What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin with Jake. Hope we're all doing well. We got another great show for you guys. We had a probably the weirdest free agent signing I've seen in a while. Aroldis Chapman goes to the Kansas City Royals, 1 year, $3.75 million. Of course, he had a great career as a closer between the Reds and the Yankees, and he had a pit stop in the Cubs where he got the World Series ring. But last year had a really tough year. He really struggled. He lost the closer job on multiple occasions with the Yankees. He had the thing where he basically didn't show up to the team workout because he wasn't guaranteed a spot on the postseason roster. So then they just didn't include him on the postseason roster. He didn't deserve it anyway. So he is no longer a Yankee. Obviously, he's the Kansas City Royals. I will miss the Mets hitting home runs off of him all the time last couple of years, but that's okay. He's in Kansas City, so now the Royals got two very hard-throwing lefties in Aroldis Chapman and Amir Garrett. One problem is they both have no control. So, have fun, Kansas City, I guess. That was a very random signing. Only other thing we already had was Raimel Tapia goes to Boston on a minor league deal. He's a guy, didn't have a great year at the plate last year. Had an OPS of like 650, 670 around there, but he is a good outfielder, can play all three outfield spots. Red Sox trying to revamp their outfield. You go and sign the guy they got from Japan, Yoshida. You bring in Raimel Tapia. They've definitely been revamping their outfield. They could have also kept Mookie Betts a couple of years ago, but it's another story. But yeah, Tapia is now a Boston Red Sox. Brandon Belt, who the Toronto Blue Jays just picked up in free agency, says that he thinks the Jays should be World Series contenders. We'll see what happens. Toronto is very good. They had a quietly very good offseason. I think they're going to give the Yankees a run for their money in the AL East and could have a nice run. We'll see what happens. Also, Red Sox star Tanner Hope getting some interest. He's pitched out of the rotation and the bullpen with the big club. He's already a starter. Young pitcher's got some talent. We'll see what happens with that. I doubt the Red Sox move him. They are looking. I heard they are shopping some of their starters, but they're not looking to trade him. They have gotten calls though, so we'll see. On to hockey scores from last night. You had the Hurricanes over the Wild, 5-2. You have the Ducks over the Blue Jackets, 5-3. Panthers over the Canadiens, 6-2. Bruins over the Rangers, 3-1. Let me tell you, this Bruins team is something else. 36-5-4. That's crazy. That is just crazy. Blackhawks over the Flyers, 4-1. It is not working in Philly with John Tortorella. I like Torts. I think he's had a great career as a coach, but it's just not working in Philly. You got, obviously the whole thing with Kevin Hayes, but it just didn't work. It did not work. It's not working right now. That's the fact. Maple Leafs over the Winnipeg Jets, 4-1. Maple Leafs looking good. I feel like they always look good at this point of year, and the playoffs come, and they look like absolute trash. You had the Sabres beat the Islanders 3-2 in overtime. This Islander team is terrible. I got all these Islander fans crying, and kind of don't blame them because this team is terrible. They have no goal scoring whatsoever. They need a new regime. Lou's got to go, and Lambert's got to go. Most of the Buffalo Sabres, who are playing better, but still, Islanders are a better hockey team than the Sabres, and you lose to them. Blues over the Predators, 5-2. You had the Capitals over the Coyotes, 4-0. Oilers over the Lightning, 5-3. You had the Kraken over the Devils, 4-3 in overtime. You had the Red Wings over the Golden Knights, 3-2, and that's an upset. Vegas is very good. And you had Stars over the Kings, 4-0. The Stars are actually very good this year. They're kind of quietly playing good hockey. Scott Wedgwood, 34 save shutout. Wow. On the college basketball, you had number 3 Purdue beat Minnesota 61-39. Number 5 UCLA over Arizona State 74-62. Loyola Marymount with a massive upset over number 6 Gonzaga 68-67. Both playing in the WCC. Number 11 Arizona beats USC 81-66. Number 18 Charleston 69-55. The Charleston beats Monmouth. Monmouth is 1-18. Wow, that's hard to do. That's bad. Michigan State in a bit of an upset over number 23 Rutgers, 70-57, and number 24 Florida Atlantic over UTSA, 83-64. Onto NBA action, you had the Bulls over the Pistons 126-108. 26 points, 9 rebounds from DeMar DeRozan. Celtics over the Warriors 121-118 in overtime in the finals rematch. Celtics get the better of the Warriors this time. Tatum, big game, 34 points, 19 boards, 6 assists. He had Steph Curry had 29 points in the loss. He had a half-court shot as time expired in the first half. Fortunately, he missed a three which would have won the game at the end of regulation, and Boston pulls that in overtime. I don't know if anyone's beating Boston this year. They can score with anybody. They got probably the best offense in the league. Tatum might be the MVP. He's probably either, I think, between Jokic and Luka, but I think Tatum's right there in the conversation. Jaylen Brown's playing great. You got Grant Williams, Rob Williams, Marcus Smart. So many playmakers on my team. They're good defensively. Joe Mazzulla's done a good job with that team, especially considering the circumstances. And we actually have a call in. So today, I have a little help in the studio today. So I'm gonna let my friend Justin, who you all know, I'm gonna let him pop in here and get on some basketball. You see, he's running in. He was in the studio. He texted me and let me in. So we're gonna just pretend this is Jake and Justin in the morning, and he's gonna hop on in. So, what's your thoughts on the NBA landscape?
The NBA landscape, I actually really like it this year. I think this is probably, in my opinion, one of the best years the NBA has ever had.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say is because the NBA and the NFL, for that matter, has gotten a little bit boring in terms of which teams are contenders.
Yeah.
It's always the same teams. It's always the Lakers, it's always the Celtics, it's always the Warriors, it's always the Sixers. Some of these new teams, they're kind of rising now. Of course, you're going to have some of your elite teams like Boston stuff, but now you're having the Kings that are a good team.
West right now.
Yeah, you're having the Pelicans who are having a good year. You're having the Pacers who are having a very good year compared to what they were expected to be. So I think it's a good year overall. There is, of course, that question about tanking because of the whole Wembanyama thing. And look, I don't know. I have no idea. I kind of think it was a little bit mean for John Wall to call out like Justin Patton. Like John Wall, you didn't even play. I mean, yes, at one point John Wall was a superstar, but he's not anymore.
No.
He's washed. His career he's on the back end of his career, probably on the caboose at this point. He's about to get kicked off the NBA train. Practically is at this point. He's about to be the next Kemba Walker, where he just jumps from team to team to team to team, gets waived. He is not the guy for the Clippers. He's just not. This is not the team the Clippers need. But also, the Clippers are just in general a cursed franchise.
They are.
I mean, this team could have the 1992 Dream Team, that crazy team to where John Stockton and Larry Bird were coming off the bench, and they would still win only 40 games. They would somehow still win only 40 games. It would
find a way.
Yeah, they would just find a way. You know who I'm really surprised is not doing as high as they should?
Who?
Are the Bucks. The Bucks are very strange, but
they're slumping a bit.
Yeah, but the way I analyze it is this: that team does not do anything if their big three is not healthy. Yeah. And it has to be all three. Yeah. If Giannis is a great player, he is an integral player for that team. But we've seen to where if he's there, but Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday aren't, they lose. We've seen a mixture of all of them. There were times where Chris Middleton just played. There were many times where Drew Holiday just plays, and he's played very well. He's giving you 20 and 10 a night, which is some great numbers, some good numbers for a point guard. But they still lose.
Yeah, those three when those three are healthy, I don't think anyone beats Milwaukee. That being said, Middleton's only played 7 right games this year. Drew's missed a little bit of time.
Yeah.
So that's why I think they're the reason they're not in first is because the Boston Celtics are just head and shoulder, but also they've been kind of mediocre for a little while now, because they haven't had Middleton on the court that much, and they haven't had all three on the court. And those guys aren't on the court at the same time. This team, they can't beat the top guns in this league.
Yeah, it's almost like our issue with the Nets 2 years ago, right? To where if you didn't have, to where people knew that if Kyrie, Harden, and KD were all healthy, no one's beating the Nets.
Right.
But the problem is none of them are healthy, so therefore they're a bit more beatable.
Yeah.
Well, what's your stance on the Nets, actually? Because I have my own very vocal opinion about it.
So they're playing very well, definitely much better. This is really the first time since they put those teams together that they really showed what they truly can do with KD and Kyrie and the team that they have. I mean, they did take a loss to the Suns last night, down 117-112. You had 24 and 14 from Ayton in that one. And they lost to San Antonio the night before. They haven't had KD.
But still, here's the thing. I get not having KD is bad, but still, you have Kyrie, who's an all-star, who can easily be a top 5 point guard in the NBA, who could probably be a Hall of Famer if he just wasn't all over the news for not basketball reasons. I don't even need to go over them. It's like everything. And then you have Ben Simmons, to where people tout this guy. He's no all-star, great player, definitely deserving the number 1 overall pick, who can't even shoot anything outside of 2 feet. When Yuta Watanabe is one of your best 3-point shooters. Here's the thing: he is a good player.
Yeah.
I would probably argue that he might. The favorites are probably Halliburton or Markkanen, but Watanabe should also be in the conversation.
Most improved?
For most improved.
He's up there.
Because when's the last time people really looked at Yuta Watanabe and said, damn, this guy's scary. Damn, this guy is the factor. And he's really been holding his own. Yeah. I think Jacques Vaughn has done good things for that team.
He's done a good job.
I think definitely for an interim coach perspective, he's done very, very well. My concern is that it's going to be a Hawks situation, to where Lloyd Pierce was the coach. In comes Nate McMillan. They have a great season. They have a really good Eastern Conference run. Almost make it to the finals. If that Bucks team wasn't stacked, they'd probably make it to the finals. Mm-hmm. And then the next 2 years after that, they just kind of play like garbage.
Yeah.
They don't have these good records. And that team, and if you could argue that team's only improved since that 2021 year. John Collins is a good player. I don't know why they don't want to get rid of him. I really don't.
I don't think. I mean, Atlanta.
Something's up.
Something's wrong.
Yeah, somebody slept with somebody's wife. Something happened. Honestly, to where people are like, "Screw you, John Collins."
I think it's McMillan. I heard like he was thinking about quitting. He had the thing with Trey. I don't think Trey might want out. I don't think they like McMillan, to be honest.
No, I don't think they do.
I'd be surprised.
But that's my concern with Jacques Vaughn. I just don't know.
It's because it's KD and Kyrie, because they're obviously they got big egos, they're big names. They got, they're very particular with the coach. I mean, you saw what happened. We saw what happened with Steve Nash. Jack Vaughn's got a little more experience. Obviously, he was a coach a while back somewhere. He was he's been with Brooklyn for a little while now. So it's a slight possibility it might not happen. By the way, shout out to Ethan.
Yeah.
He's waving to us through the glass window here.
Ethan was taking a picture. Like, they just let anyone do podcasts.
Yeah, you know him from fraudulent behavior.
I know, I feel that. Yep, I feel it. Any other basketball opinions you need to reach from me?
So the New York Knicks.
Yeah.
They are the most inconsistent professional sports team I have ever seen. Like, this team is so mid, and it's infuriating.
It is a very middle-of-the-pack team. I feel like there's more to it than just... Here's the thing. I agree with pinning the blame on Tibbs, but not all of the blame.
Far from it, yes.
I think there is a bit of a lack of depth on the team, especially because I don't know why... I mean, they have some solid pieces, but Cam Reddish, my God, they never play him.
I don't think he's is going to be the amount of trade. I think he's getting traded.
Oh, he's getting traded 100%. But if they're going to trade him, can they actually trade him for somebody useful for once? Because including me, I went crazy. I was hyped when they traded Kevin Knox for Cam Reddish because I thought finally the Knicks have a piece that they can use.
Yeah.
And I'll use him. He's not that good. R.J. Barrett, I think, he's off to a bit of a slower start than what I expected him to be.
He was really rocky at first.
He was really rocky because I actually
he's
thought...
He's been scoring better, but he's struggling from three, for sure.
I actually thought that after last year's performance, to where he had that epic jump in his game, I thought this year was going to be his all-star year, and it's probably not. I think Brunson has done a lot for that team.
He's been great.
But I'm going to be honest with you, he needs a 2.
He does.
There needs to be...
He's not even really a 1, Brunson, to be honest.
He's not really a 1. No, he's more of a 2 guy. I think he's playing I think he's playing great. I think he should be in the All-Star conversation. I don't think starter, but a reserve.
Yes.
Definitely a reserve. But I just don't see him being the leader to guide this Knicks team to a playoffs. And if they do go to the playoffs, I don't know who they beat in the 7-game series.
I think,
let's say, for example, they're the 8th.
Someone to 6 or 7. I don't know who they're going to beat either.
Well, what I'm saying is, so let's say, for example, they get the 8th seed. I mean, do you really think they're going to beat Boston in 7? No.
I don't. That might be a sweep, to be honest.
That might be I think they can definitely take some teams to 6 or 7. I could honestly see a game against Philly going to 6. I could, because somehow, Philly will let up 2 games because Joel Embiid won't.
They'll go up 3-0 and then they'll lose.
And they'll lose 2 games. And then lose 2 games, and people will think that this is Doc Rivers' mega choke again, coming back into it. But no, it's just what the Sixers do. I could see them play. I could see them and the Pacers going to 7. Absolutely. I think that is the only team that they're evenly matched against. In the East right now for the Pacers. It's the Pacers, but I don't think they go on this finals run.
No.
Not yet, at least, but they do need some work here and there.
Yeah, I just think the organization is not done a good job.
Leon's kind of bad.
Leon Rose has not done a good job. Scott Perry, I don't even know why he's still here. They brought him over. They brought him over from the Kings. When the Kings were still really bad before this year.
Whoa, you are talking about the team that shines the beam. I do not want to hear any beam slander.
Cool. They were very bad at the time. So that they bring him in to serve as a GM underneath Steve Mills. Mills gets fired.
Yeah.
They bring him in around and he just keeps him. Why? Get rid of him. Get rid of him. The front office is a joke. Thibs was a good coach. I just don't think his style works anymore. I'll take him as an assistant. He's not the right coach anymore. In fact, they probably should have hired Kenny Atkinson a couple of years ago.
They should have. I mean, he should at least be an assistant coach of the team.
At the time, they were like, all right, we have a young team. Should we go with a guy in Thibs who works better, with a contender, or a talent developer? Right? And people, because Thibs is such a bigger name, everyone wanted Thibs. And I kind of wanted Thibs too, but looking back, Kenny Atkinson probably would have been better because he's a talent developer. He's more of a talent developer.
Yeah, I agree. By the way, we were talking about different conferences earlier. Before I go, one thing. I think the best team right now, the championship favorite for the West, is the Memphis Grizzlies.
I would say so too.
When that team is on, they are on.
Yes.
My only concern is this. Before I go, I want to say this. Number 1, John Moran is MVP. Number 2, Taylor Jenkins is a great coach.
Yes.
But, oh my God, he has some of the worst timeout management I have ever seen in my life. So let me set the scene. Let me give a sequence for you. Game starts, jump ball. Let's say, for example, they're playing, the Lakers. Game starts, jump ball. Russell Westbrook scores 1 layup. Timeout. You're up 2-0. You're down by 1 point with 11 minutes and 59 seconds left in the first quarter. You don't need a timeout. He does not need a timeout right now. And then there's other times to where, it's like they're blowing out the team, for example, they'll play the Spurs. They'll be up by 50. and then at one point the Spurs will get like a fast break and score a layup. Timeout. Yeah, guys, we can't be blowing our 50-point lead right now. I know there's 6 minutes left in the quarter. I know there's 6 minutes left in the game, but they're really, I gotta really show some respect for Keldon Johnson here. But anyway, that's all I have to say. Thanks for letting me on such short notice. Actually, by the way, I just want to give a shout out here. I wasn't doing the camera switch. It was actually Liam.
Wow! Shout out to Liam, who's actually new, who's new at this thing. He's doing a very good job.
I told him well.
You sure did. Thank you, Justin, for joining me. You're welcome anytime. Liam as well. Let's go over the rest of the scores. Timberwolves over the Raptors, 128-126. Kyle Anderson had 20 points, 10 rebounds. I forgot he was in Minnesota. I forgot he was not in Memphis anymore. And he had the Sixers over the Blazers, 105-95. Joel Embiid had 32 points, 9 boards, and 3 blocks. Let's talk about some NFL. We got some coaching news. So the Ravens have parted ways with offensive coordinator Greg Roman. I think it's the right move. In 2019, when Lamar won the MVP, that offense was unstoppable. Greg Roman was getting head coach interviews. And then in the playoffs, the Titans were able to figure them out. And teams were like, oh. So that's how you do it. So they were able to, they figured him out, and he just didn't adjust. In this league, you want to be a coach in this league, you got to adjust, and you got to do it on the fly, and Greg Roman just didn't do that. He didn't. He tried to turn Lamar into a pocket passer, which didn't work. Then he went back to his old style, just run the ball 40 times, which they have a great running attack, but just you're not going to win a Super Bowl the way. They figured out his offense quickly. It was time to move on. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I mentioned yesterday that they fired the coordinator Leftwich. The quarterback coach Clyde Christensen retired, and they fired the receivers coach Kevin Garver. They took everybody. Everybody is gone. The offensive quality control coach Jeff Castro is gone. The D-line coach Laurie Locust is gone. The special teams coordinator Chris Bonoyo is gone. The running backs coach Tom McNair is gone. The senior offensive assistant Christopher is gone. He retired, and their outside linebackers coach Bob Sanders also retired. So the Bucs took their entire offensive staff. Okay, look, they did not do many good things on offense, but I think a lot of that is on Brady. He's washed. He was not good this year. Also, why is Bowles still there? You fired everybody but Bowles. Bowles is not a good head coach in this league. Why is he still there? I don't understand. He needs to go. Get him out. Okay, he needs to go. By the way, the Georgia offensive coordinator Tom Munkin is a candidate to be the offensive coordinator there. He was the offensive coordinator there at one point before. And then he went to Cleveland as no coordinator, and then he eventually took the job he has at Georgia. So we also have the Dolphins fired their D coordinator Josh Boyer after 3 seasons. I didn't think he did a great job this year. Probably the right move. Interesting conversation he had with a back and forth between Aaron Rodgers and Rob Gronkowski. Aaron Rodgers went on the Pat McAfee show, as he always does, and so he thinks in the right situation he can win an MVP again. He said whether that's the Packers or somewhere else, we'll see. And Gronk called him out on a podcast, and he said, why are you worried about MVP? You should be worried about winning Super Bowls. And, okay, although I don't agree with Gronk a lot, but I do agree with him here. Aaron Rodgers is all about me. And also, if I'm a teammate of him. I see him go on the Pat McAfee show and say, I can win MVP in the right situation, but that basically say, I'm not sure if that's the Packers. I don't think in the past, although he's obviously a big drama queen and a diva, it seems like his teammates do like him. That would, if I was, a guy on that team, Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, Christian Watson, Jerry Alexander, even Matt LaFleur as coach, I would not like that. That is not a good teammate. Saying, saying those kind of things. That I don't think I don't think it's going to go over too well in the locker room. But we'll see. The Patriots have interviewed the guy I mentioned, and they interviewed Bill O'Brien, the offensive coordinator at Alabama. He was offensive coordinator at one point in New England a while back. They might bring him back, and he was head coach of the Texans. He's been the coordinator at Alabama the last couple of years. Brandon Staley is officially back to the Chargers, their head coach. I don't understand. Look, Lombardi needs to go, the O coordinator. I like Shane Day, the quarterback's coach. I probably would have kept him, but I understand why they moved on. But Staley needs to go too. That's a joke. Vikings have fired their D coordinator, Ed Donatel. So he's gone. Right move. I don't know what they were doing in that game against the Giants. Their defense was awful that game. You know, Isaiah Hodgins is just getting the biggest separation you've ever seen. And the defense wasn't that good in the whole year, to be honest. They were not that good. It was on the their offense got them there. That's what got them to 13-4. So right move. He's out after 1 year as their D coordinator. And so apparently Elijah Moore, just receiver, does not like Mike LaFleur. And by the way, Justin just sent me a message. He's in the back helping me out today. By the way, thank you, Justin Lee, and I appreciate your help. He thinks he's going to the Chargers as an offensive coordinator. I don't think they should hire him, but knowing Staley, I wouldn't be surprised. We'll see what happens. But Elijah Moore, apparently, when he had no catches at their week 6, but really would start his frustration, led to his trade request and the drama that ensued. He told LaFleur to go F himself and that he sucks. So my guess is Elijah Moore is probably pretty happy that Mike LaFleur is out. By the way, can the Jets get a real offensive coordinator? Why are you going to bring Nathaniel Hackett? Do not bring him in. I know he did some good things in Green Bay, but he had Aaron Rodgers. He had an MVP level Aaron Rodgers. He had a pretty good damn quarterback. And in Jacksonville, he was not that good. Blake Bortles is also not a good quarterback, but still, he wasn't that good. I don't know how you could hire him. After what he did in Denver, I know that as a head coach, he's getting a lower role as the O coordinator. You cannot bring him in. The guy I would want is probably Kevin. Of the guys they interviewed, is probably Kevin Patullo, the quarterback coach at the Eagles, who he's done a good job. That's all the guys they interviewed. That's who I would want. So we got the Cowboys have signed a kicker, Tristan Vizcaino. He kicked for a couple of teams this year on the practice squad. Super Badu. Brett Maher missed 4 extra points in a meltdown like you've never seen in the wildcard round against Tampa. And by the way, Kenny Pickett, the Steelers quarterback, he was on the Pat McAfee show. Says he wants Jordan Addison, who might be the top receiver in the draft. He was at USC last year, but prior to that, he was Kenny Pickett's top target at Pitt. And by the way, I know there's been a lot of speculation with Aaron Donald not playing next year. You have the whole thing with his social media. He announced he will play next year. Before I close up the show, let's talk some wrestling. Friday Night SmackDown from Friday. You had an Intercontinental Championship. You had Gunther defeating Braun Strowman via pinfall. I'm laughing. Justin sent me another message saying I didn't mention the point peasant. Let me clarify what that means. Justin is not a Chris Paul fan, as I'm not either. And so Chris Paul's known as the point god, and Justin calls him the point peasant. So shout out to Justin. That's actually pretty funny. Karrion Kross, first Rey Mysterio, he cut a promo. Karrion Kross started talking about his family, which provoked Rey Mysterio, started punching him. He was about to hit a 619. Then Scarlett tripped up Rey Mysterio, and Karrion Kross locked him in his chokehold, and he passed out. Liv Morgan was in locker room saying she wants to enter the Rumble number 1. There was a couple of women who said that's not a good idea. Then Raquel Rodriguez said, all due respect, not a good idea. And then Liv Morgan slapped Raquel Rodriguez, which led to a match, and Raquel won. You had Tegan Nox defeating Xia Li with the shiniest wizard. You had Valhalla, who was formerly Sarah Logan, who's now like the Viking Raiders like hype woman. She had that whole thing where like the demise of McIntyre and Sheamus, and then McIntyre and Sheamus, were trying to convince Adam Pearce to get in the match. And next week in the tag team tournament, it'll be McIntyre and Sheamus against the Viking Raiders. That was a very funny moment in the back where they were hugging Adam Pearce. You had Bray Wyatt had another cryptic promo. He was rocking it in the chair. Gonna be an interesting match at the Royal Rumble against LA Knight. You had Sonya Deville storm in to try to convince Pearce to have a rematch against Charlotte. Of course, Sonya used to be his assistant until she got fired and then went back to being a competitor. and Pierce shot it down. And then Sony got into a backstage brawl with Charlotte Flair. And last but not least, the main event, you had Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens. And Sami Zayn looked like he was about to set up his finisher, but then the rest of the bloodline, Solo Sikoa and the Usos, beat the crap out of Kevin Owens. And Sami Zayn looked a little displeased. He wanted to try to prove himself. He didn't really get the chance to do that. All right. That's all I got for you guys today. Until next time, so long, and have a great day.